In today's episode, you'll learn the secret script to landing a guest spot on your favorite podcast. Welcome to Podcast and Q&A, where you learn the best tips and strategies to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast. The truth is, your favorite interview podcast is always looking for their next great guest. So let's break down what you need to do to get noticed and to land that next guest spot. Step number 1 is to get clear on why you're a great podcast guest. You want to be able to clearly communicate the value that you're going to give to the show, and especially to the listeners who are going to listen to that episode, so that it makes it really easy for the podcast host to say yes. Step number 2 is to craft a really compelling bio. Just because you have a list of great topics and episode ideas doesn't mean the podcast host is convinced just yet that you are the person to speak to them. So crafting a really compelling bio, such as places you've been featured in, any notable publications like Forbes or CNBC, or anything that is relevant to your industry, other podcasts that you've been on, basically anything that's going to reinforce the fact that you are the perfect person to talk about this topic on their show, you should include in the pitch. Now, you may think the next tip is to craft a pitch email, but au contraire. The next step is to actually create a list of podcasts that you want to pitch. You want to pitch to as many podcasts as possible so that it'll increase your chances of landing a guest spot on a show. Some places you could start looking at podcasts that might be a great fit include podcast directories or asking fellow podcasters of shows that they feel that you could be a great guest on. Here's the fun part. Step number 4 is to look at that list of podcasts that you could be a guest on and write a few topic or episode ideas for each one. That way, you can personalize your pitches at scale. Now we're ready to write your emails. I'm going to walk you step by step through an email template that I've used to pitch myself as a guest on podcasts with great results. So start off really quickly introducing yourself, then jump into the topic or episode ideas. Then you're going to showcase your expertise by providing your bio and why you are the perfect fit to talk to these topic or episode ideas. Now, bonus points. One of the biggest pain points for podcasters is getting really great audio quality. So if you have a microphone or other types of equipment that's going to help give you the best sound when you're recording, make sure to showcase that. Wrap up the email with a simple call to action, either by leaving a link to your calendar where they can book you, or you can ask the podcast host for a link to their calendar so that you can work around their schedule and book a time for you to be on the show. The idea here is to make it as easy as possible for you to be a guest on their show and to create really compelling reasons for them to say yes. Now that you've written this email, who do you send it to? That's a great question because you want to make sure that you send that email to the right person. In some cases, the podcast host has an assistant, or the podcast host themselves, or they could be part of a larger network and it's some random contact person you never even thought of. So take some time to find out who the best person to contact is and their email address so that'll increase your chances of getting a response. Places you can find email addresses include the podcast website page itself. Maybe they have a contact form or contact page where you can look. LinkedIn, or even social media accounts. If you have to, sending a DM on Instagram is just as effective as sending an email. The next tip is the fortunes in the follow-up. Podcast hosts can get really busy and have a lot of emails in their inboxes, or they've seen your email and make a plan to reply and then simply forget. There's a lot of reasons why your initial pitch email doesn't get read or responded to. So following up is a great way to make sure that you're still on top of mind as a great guest for their show. Once you've landed that coveted guest spot, you want to make sure that you have the best audio quality possible. That way, the podcast host will be really impressed and tell all their podcast host friends, and then maybe you can get on their podcast and they'll refer you to all of the other podcasts that they know, and it's just a multiplying effect. So to get the best audio quality possible, we've created a video that breaks down the step-by-step on how to get the best audio quality in a remote recording. So feel free to click on the link here or down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep podcasting.